my name is Sam. I'm with CASA of the Coastal Bend, and I am a registered yoga teacher. I'm very excited to partner with the Garcia Arts Center with this virtual youth program. Today's class is focused on observation. So getting youth to take notice of how they feel in a moment, physically, emotionally. We go through a breathing exercise, we go through mindfulness exercise, and then also physical yoga practice. This class is suitable for children 8 years and above, and is really suitable for anybody in the household. So we hope you enjoy this yoga class. Thank you. Hi, thank you for joining me for yoga today. I'm excited for our class. Before we get started, I want to make sure that you're in a space where you have enough room to move around. If you have a yoga mat, that's great. If you have a towel, that'll work too. Or just make sure that you're on a comfortable surface, a blanket, something so that if your knees are tender, you can rest them on them when we do certain poses. But let's get started. So to ground ourselves, to prepare for our yoga practice, we'll go through a breathing activity. So sit down in a comfortable seat, however you'd like, and we're going to inhale through our nose, and as we exhale, we're going to exhale out our nose and make the sound mm. So we'll practice a couple of times. Inhale through your nose, and then exhale through your nose. One more time, inhale and exhale. We're going to do that 3 more times. If you don't like making the sound, you can just breathe out through your nose or breathe out through your mouth, whatever feels comfortable to you in your practice today. So we'll do 3 more rounds of breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And then just return to your normal breath, your regular breath. And before we get started with our physical yoga practice, we're going to take a moment just to look around the room that we're in. So see if you can notice something that you've never noticed before. It could be the room that you're in, or maybe the room that I'm in, which if you're looking at the room I'm in, there's probably a lot of things you've never seen before. So just focus on something new to you. And just keep in mind that when we're going throughout our day, or our regular everyday, that when you stop and you're quiet and you look around, it's easier to notice things that you might not notice when we're busy moving around and talking. And so just being mindful of that in our practice today. So observing how we feel when we move through the poses, not just physically when we're moving, but emotionally inside, how it makes us feel too. We'll get started with our yoga practice. So we'll go ahead and stand up at the front of our mat. So whenever we talk about the front of our mat, it's the short edge of the mat. The side of our mat is the long edge. So we're going to stand at the front of our mat, our feet hips width apart. So hips width, you could take your 2 fists together, place them between your feet. So whenever you hear hips width, that's the distance you want your feet apart. Put a little bit of a bend in your knees. Inhale, arms up, and exhale, arms down. We're going to go through a warm-up. It's called sun salutation. So there will be a group of poses that we do in order. Inhale, arms up, reach the sky. Exhale, forward fold, hands to your mat. Inhale, bring your hands to your shin. Lift your chest and head up to look forward. Exhale, hands down to the mat. We're going to step one knee back and down to the mat, the other knee back and down to the mat. And then from here, you're going to extend one leg back, the other leg back, and then bend your arms to bring yourself all the way down to the ground. Pressing down through your hands, inhale and lift your chest and head up. This is Cobra pose. And then exhale, we're going to lower back down to the ground. We're going to push back up to our knees on hands and knees in tabletop position. From here, we're going to inhale, lift our knees off the mat, push our bottoms up and back into down dog. And you can put a little bit of a bend in your knees here in down dog and pushing through your hands, looking at your feet, reaching your chest towards your legs. We'll stay here for 2 breaths. Inhale, exhale for 1. Inhale, exhale for 2. Put a little bit of a bend in your knees if it's not already there. Walk your feet up to meet your hands. And then from here, you're going to bend your knees a little bit more. Inhale, hands on your shins. Lift your chest and head to look forward. Exhale, forward fold, hands down to the mat. Inhale, arms all the way up, reaching as high as you can. And then exhale, arms down by your sides. And we're going to stand at our mat with our arms down by our sides here for a couple of breaths. This is called mountain pose. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. You're doing great. Now we're going to go through some other yoga poses. We'll go down to our mat, but we've got to do some poses to get down to the mat. So we'll inhale, arms up all the way towards the sky. Exhale, forward fold, hands to the ground. We'll step one leg back, coming down to our knees, the other leg back. So now we're in tabletop. And you want to bring your knees out to the sides of your mat. Bring your toes to touch. And then bring your bottom back to your heels. Walk your hands out as far as you can and bring your forehead down on the mat, and you can rest your arms down on the mat too. This is called child's pose or rock pose. So we'll stay here in this position for 2 breaths. This is a resting pose, so at any time during our practice, if you feel like you need a break or this is really comfortable for you, you can go into this pose, you can stay into this pose. We'll stay here for 1 more breath. Inhale and exhale. Coming back up to hands and knees, which is tabletop position. We'll lift our knees up off the mat, push our bottoms up and back into down dog again. Inhale and exhale. On your next inhale, walk your feet up to meet your hands. And we're going to have our feet hips width distance apart, so putting your fist in between your feet to make sure that we get hips distance. And then we're going to put our hands on opposite elbows, and our chest is towards our legs in a forward fold. Sway from one side to the other side. This is called ragdoll pose. And remember to breathe in and breathe out during our practice today. Maybe stop and notice how your body feels in this pose. If your legs feel really tight, you can put a bit of a bend in your knees here. Or if you want more of a stretch, you can straighten your legs, and you may feel a tightness in the back of your legs here. We'll lower our hands down to our mats, bend our knees, and roll up to stand. Back to our mountain pose. Now from mountain pose, we're going to open up into star pose. So we look like a star, right? How many points are in a star? 5. So we have 1 leg, 2, 3, 4, and then our head makes 5. So this is our star pose. We have our toes facing the long edge of the mat. Our arms are stretched out up high. Inhale and exhale. Take your right foot and you're going to turn it to the short edge of your mat and bend your knee. And you might want to walk your foot up a little bit so that your knee is over your ankle. And you'll bring your arms down so that they're spread out from your shoulders, parallel with your shoulders. And this is called Warrior 2 pose. So we're strong warriors in this pose. We'll take 2 breaths. Inhale, exhale. 1 more. Inhale and exhale. On your next inhale, straighten the bent leg. Inhale your arms back up. We'll turn the right foot towards the long edge of the mat now. In star pose, inhale and exhale. Now we'll turn the left foot out, bend that left knee, arms come out from the shoulders, and we'll look at the front hand when Warrior 2 now on the other side. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Straightening that left leg, turning the toes towards the long edge of the mat. Arms come up, back into star pose. We're going to turn to the right again. So facing the right toes towards the short edge of the mat, bending the right knee. Arms come down to the sides. This time we're going to lower our right arm on top of our right leg, and we're going to make a circle with our left arm. So we're bringing our arm down and then up towards our left ear. This is called side angle pose. We'll stay here for 2 breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Now on your next inhale, we'll straighten the front leg, arms come out to the sides again. Inhale, arms up, turning your toes towards the side of the mat. We'll go on the other side. So turning the left toes towards the short edge of the mat, bending the left knee, arms come down to our sides. We'll lower the left arm on top of our left leg and then make a circle with the right arm. So bringing it down, forward, up next to our right ear, and we're in side angle pose. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. On your next inhale, straighten that front leg, bring your arms out to the sides, coming back up to stand. Turn the toes towards the long edge of the mat. Inhale, both arms up. Now, you have the option to walk your feet together, bending your knees, walk your feet together, or you can jump your feet together. So if you'd like to jump your feet together, we'll press down on our feet and then bring them together, coming into mountain pose again. So great job so far with our practice. This is your practice, so at any time, if you want to stay in a pose, you really like it, stay in that pose. If you don't like it, skip it. You make it how you want to make it. So we're going to go to a balancing pose now called tree. So we're going to stand in the middle of our mats here, and you want to make sure that if you know that if you balance on one leg, you might fall over, then maybe go to a wall so that you can have some support. But especially you want to make sure that you don't have anything nearby in case you do fall. We want to make sure that we have a safe practice and we don't hurt ourselves. So we'll stand in the middle of our mat. We're going to press down on our left foot. And then we're going to lift the heel of our right foot and bring it to our left ankle. Hands come on our hips. And this is tree pose. So you could stay here in tree if this feels good to you. If you want to grow your tree, then you can slide your right foot to the left shin. So anywhere in between your ankle and your knee. You can keep your hands at your hips, or you can bring them to your chest, hands together, or you could bring them up above. And with this balancing pose, you want to make sure that you look at something that's not moving, and that will help you with maintaining your balance. So pressing down through the left foot, looking at what's called a drishti, something that's not moving, so you can focus on that point. And then if you want to grow your tree even more, you can grab your right foot and bring it in between your knee and your hip on your left leg. And of course, placing your hands anywhere you'd like. We'll stay here for 2 more breaths. Inhale, exhale, and it's okay if you stumble or you fall out of it. You can get right back into it, or you can stay out of it. And then we'll exhale, bringing our hands down to our hips, releasing our leg down to the ground. Shake it out, shake your tree out. We'll do that on the other side. So pressing down through your right foot, lift your left heel up to meet your right ankle. Hands on your hips, and we're in tree pose. So if you want to grow your tree, you can slide the left foot onto the right shin, anywhere in between the ankle and the knee. Hands can stay at the hips. Hands can go to heart center, or we can reach them up above or even out to the sides. And if you want to grow your tree even more, which you don't have to, but if you'd like to, then we'll grab our left foot and we'll bring it above our right knee. So placing it on the right leg above the knee. Hands at the hips, heart center, out to the sides, up above. We'll stay here for 2 more breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Lower your hands down to your hips, lower your left leg down to the ground, shake your tree out. Great job. Whatever your tree looked like, or if you didn't have a tree, that's okay too. So we'll move on with our practice here. So we'll go to the front of our mats in mountain pose again, reaching our arms up towards the sky. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to step our feet back, but we're going straight into a down dog. So left foot steps back, right foot steps back, the palm of your hands are on your mat. You're gonna push your bottom up and back. So your heels are reaching towards the floor. They may be touching the floor, but if they're not, that's okay. We're pushing through the palms of our hands, reaching our chest towards our legs. Inhale and exhale. 1 more breath, inhale. And exhale. We're going to lower our knees down to the mat. We're coming into table pose. From table pose, bring our knees out to the width of the mat, toes to touch. We're going into child's pose. We did this at the beginning of our practice. So bottom towards your heels, walking our hands out as far as you can, releasing the arms down to the ground, and your forehead comes down to touch the mat. We'll stay here for 2 breaths. Inhale, exhale for 1. Inhale, exhale for 2. When you're ready, walk your hands back to bring yourself up. And we're going to come into a seated pose called butterfly. So we'll sit down on our bottoms. We'll bring our feet to touch. So our knees are pointing out to the sides. Now, if this feels uncomfortable for you, you can hold this under your knees, and you can bring them up at a level that feels most comfortable. And if that's still too much, you can just have both feet on the ground with your knees bent. Now, if you're going to go into butterfly, we have the bottom of our feet touching. We'll grab them with our hands. We're going to inhale and sit up as straight as we can. And then exhale, we're gonna forward fold like we did when we were standing. But this time we're reaching our chest towards our feet and our elbows are bent out to the sides. Now it might feel, you might feel a deep stretch, which is good and okay, but if it feels painful, really uncomfortable, then you don't want to fold as forward as you're doing. You just come back up a little bit. So you want to feel a stretch, but you don't want to feel any pain. And even if you want to walk your hands out for more of a stretch, you can do that too here. Just kind of experiment. Notice how what you're doing is making your body feel, and then make adjustments. If you want more of a stretch, move out more. If you want less of a stretch, come back. And we'll stay wherever you're at for 2 more breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. All right, we'll place our hands under our knees and gently bring our knees up. And guess what? We are at the end of our yoga practice. So this is our relaxation time. So we're gonna lay on our backs and go through a guided relaxation. So laying down, our legs extended out in front of us. Our arms can be down by our sides or up above, wherever's comfortable for you. You can close your eyes or you can have your eyes open. So just making yourself as comfortable as possible. We'll be here for about a minute. So as we're laying here, imagine that we're outside, it's a sunny day, and that you can feel the warmth of the sun. It's right above you. You feel the warmth. You can see the brightness all around you. And then a cloud comes by and it starts to sprinkle just a little bit. And so you feel that on your legs, you feel that on your arms, just kind of like the rain is gently dancing on you. And then the cloud drifts away, so the rain stops, and a rainbow appears above you. So imagine that you're looking at this rainbow and you can see all the bright, glowing colors. And then you're going to pick out one of those colors, whichever color is your favorite color. And you're going to imagine that color glowing over each of your arms, your legs, your stomach, your head, until your whole body is filled with that color. We'll start to bring ourselves out of the rain, out of the rainbow, by gently wiggling our fingers and our toes. Maybe stretching your arms up ahead if they're not already there. Stretching your legs out in front of you. Rolling onto one side and gently pushing yourself up to a seated position. And that concludes our yoga practice for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope to see you next time. Thank you.